You're now listening to Sound Talent Media. Check out more shows at soundtalentmedia.com.
When you think about businesses that are selling through the roof like Skims or Allbirds, sure, you think about a great product, a cool brand, and great marketing. But an often overlooked secret is actually the businesses behind the business, making selling and for shoppers buying simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. It's home of ShopPay, the #1 checkout in the world. You can use it to boost conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts going abandoned and way more sales going through to checkout. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout Allbirds uses. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/income, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/income to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/income.
Now at Lowe's, faster quotes start at the Lowe's Pro Desk. Got a material list handwritten on a sticky note or saved as a photo? Perfect. Bring it to us and get a quote in minutes. And if you don't see what you need on the shelf, we'll help you get it. You can access thousands of products beyond what's available in-store or on Lowe's.com, right from the Lowe's Pro Desk. Build quotes faster and source the materials you need to keep your jobs moving. Just like that, at Lowe's.
Hello, good people, and welcome back to another episode of the Tone Mob Podcast. This week, we are traveling just a bit north of my fair city of Portland, Oregon, to visit Thunder Road Guitars Seattle, which is the original Thunder Road. You heard Will on the podcast a few weeks back. He runs the Portland shop. Today, we are talking to Frank Gross, who founded Thunder Road and has the OG location up in Seattle. Well, actually, they've moved, and we talk about that quite a bit on this episode. There's a lot of music instrument business talk on this episode. So if you or somebody you know is thinking about starting a store or maybe wanting to venture into MI in some capacity, that's musical instruments, of course, this is going to be a good one for you. So without further ado, let's get into this episode with Frank Gross of Thunder Road Guitars, Seattle. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Tone Mob Podcast, the show about guitar stuff, occasionally, sometimes. I'm your host, Blake Weiland, and with me today, I have Frank Gross from Thunder Road, Seattle, the northern Thunder Road. I've had lots of awesome Pacific Northwest retailers on the podcast lately.
I've heard.
I just had Trevor on. I'm actually publishing his episode today as we talk. Once we hop off, that's the next thing I'm doing is publishing his episode. So we're just keeping the tradition alive right now.
There you go.
Yeah.
We're lucky enough to live in an area of the country with a bunch of really great guitar shops. So that's no surprise.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Well, I've been familiar with Thunder Road for a long time. I've been shopping at the Portland store for basically since it opened.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, and I know Will's story really well, but I don't know your story. I know you played in bands for a long time. I know that you've done lots of things, but as far as I'm aware, you're also like the original Thunder Road guy. Like you started this thing, right?
I did, yeah. Thunder Road, I guess the started in 2011. Just as kind of like an idea, you know. I'd worked at Emerald City Guitars previous to that, and then before that, I'd worked at Guitar Center, and I just kind of like had always found myself working in music stores and music retail, and thought that, hey, maybe I could do this myself. Mm-hmm. And obviously, there's every day since has been a learning experience, but I did found the company and started it from scratch.
So how do you go about that? I've heard a few different tales of people who started music retail. Some people start flipping stuff off of Craigslist and they flip their way into a store. Some people take a big loan and buy a bunch of inventory and do it the old-fashioned way. So there's all kinds of different ways to approach it. Like what was your jumping off point?
So the first option, I guess, door number A, so to speak, is what you said. In 2010, 2011, I was playing in a band, and we got that genius idea to move to LA and, to really go for it. And we were living down there, and none of us were working or anything. And I'd left my job at Emerald City to go to move down to LA, and there was like, talks of a record deal and all sorts of stuff that can get guys like us to move.
Yep.
And in between rehearsals and stuff, I was just like, I'm not working, I'm not doing anything. So I kind of started like combing the pawn shops and Reverb with I'm sorry, Reverb didn't exist then. So the pawn shops, eBay, Craigslist, looking for guitars to kind of like resell. And I just got a notification.
Oh,
can you still
everything?
Hear me?
Yeah, I can still hear you. Yeah.
Oh, sorry about that. But yeah, so I was living down there, and I was, kind of combing the Craigslist and the pawn shops and kind of looking for guitars to resell to pay rent and to, buy groceries and all that kind of stuff. And I think that's where I kind of got the idea that it was possible that somebody, like without any sort of business degree or real business experience at all could maybe possibly try to turn, one guitar into two and two into four and so on and so forth. So I did that for we were down there for almost a year. And towards the end of 2011, I left that band and moved back to Seattle, and knew in the drive home and all that something had to change in my life personally. And I just was not happy being, a guy in a band and having that be my kind of sole focus in life. And my girlfriend at the time and my wife now was like, why don't you just try to start a guitar shop? And like, what does that even look like? So, with her kind of being the push, so on and so forth to do that, I reached out to my friend Aaron Johnson, who I'd played in bands with way back, who's a graphic designer and a collaborator and still does all of our art stuff to this day. So anything that's branded or painted or basically anything that says Thunder Road on it, he created.
Cool.
And I had him do our branding and our very, very first website. And that kind of started rolling in the end of 2011. And then, website went live January 1st, 2012. And here we are. All these years later. Obviously, there's a lot that happened in between those two, between now and then. But that was kind of the inception of what we have now.
Mm-hmm. I think that one thing that did set you apart was the branding and the identity, right? It sounds maybe silly to some people, but I think that matters a lot more than most people want to give credit to.
It really does, and it's not something that I was really hip to at all. I mean, I originally hit him up and was like, hey, can you build me a website to buy and sell guitars on? And he's like, well, I think you need a little bit more than a website. And without that guidance early on, I don't think that we would have had people say that, say that the branding and the visual aspect of our stores is something that people think is cool. Mm-hmm. So the website went up, and I mean, there was no brick and mortar, there was no staff. It was literally just me, the website, and I'm cruising around Seattle in my 1980s Volvo. I'd meet people in like a Guitar Center parking lot or Walmart parking lot or whatever, and buy a guitar and then bring it back to the little office space that I was working out of and clean it up and take photos of it and put it on the site. And then when we were first getting going, there was no Reverb. So we were just doing our website, eBay, and then a website called Gbase, I'm sure you're familiar with.
Oh, yeah. Throwback, Gbase, yes.
So, yeah, I mean, that was like really the first almost year that Thunder Road existed, was just doing that, like, repetition over and over and over again. And I didn't do any sort of like bank loans or anything like that. It was really grassroots, like I said, buy a guitar, sell it, buy two, sell those two, buy four, so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm. So, when you're starting out, like I know for me, like in starting businesses and doing different things over the years, one of the things, this is going to be nerdy because this is what it is, folks. I like to talk about this kind of stuff. Like pricing, I think surprises people with like what you should charge for something. Obviously, the market can only bear certain things, and you price yourself out at some point. But I think a lot of people forget that there's electricity involved. Eventually, you have employees, and eventually there's this and that all gets baked in to the price of something. So,
Sure.
when you were trying to determine that stuff early on, did you find that you were shooting yourself in the foot, or did you have a good sense of it right away?
I mean, I think that really early on, like, I don't know everything about every single guitar. Nobody does. But I felt like I was kind of specifically going after instruments that I knew, and I felt like I knew the market on, and the margin that we were working with back then was a lot less, just because there wasn't rents and staff and all of those things that the cost of operating now is much higher, way higher than it was even 5 years ago, let alone when it was just me.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I was specifically seeking out instruments and amps that I had a general understanding of what the like market would bear, so to speak.
Yeah. So did you look for specific instruments as the store kind of developed into more of a identifiable thing that like fit with that, or do you just grab whatever's cool and you think you can?
No, I mean, even to this day, I feel like with all of the stuff that we do with new brands and when Will and I are running around at guitar shows and stuff, we take a lot of pride in making sure that our inventory is curated and that we, I wouldn't say handpick everything, but have a large part in the inventory in both stores.
Mm-hmm.
So even back, when we were just getting going, like I said, a lot of that, it was all handpicked by me. And then when we opened our first brick and mortar store, there was a little bit of like, let's just fill this place up, because, the first week we opened, I think we had like 30 guitars on the wall and, maybe 4 or 5 amps, and that was it.
That's what I got out here.
Yeah, I mean, everything starts from something, and
yeah.
I think that I was not in a position when I started this to go and do like a big bank loan and really kind of go for it. And yeah, I think even if I could have, I'm really glad that I did it the way that we did, because it allowed us to grow organically and grow like a little each year, rather than just kind of throwing it all out there and hoping that something catches on, so to speak.
Oh man, I relate to that in a huge way. Bootstrapping is really tough in business. That's why I feel like, and you've probably gotten this too, when anything gets to a certain point, there will, inevitably, this is just peeling back the curtain a little bit, but there have been multiple outreaches from several different companies to buy Stringjoy. And that's always one of the questions. And we're not really interested, but at the same time, you're going to at least have the conversation, right? Just to see. Because you never know. Some people get crazy sometimes. And it's like, okay. But that's never been the case. But one of the questions is always like, oh, well, okay, like, what's your financing situation and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, oh, no, we don't have any. It's just Scott and I. That's it. That's who's, and a lot of them are shocked. Because I think that's a little less of a common approach, is that slow. It's not been slow as far as people's public perception goes, but for us, it's been over a decade. And for you, it's been over a decade. So it's all that compounding interest of all that work that you've done and the late nights and the not taking the big loan that I think, I'm not saying that that's not a viable strategy for some things. And some things do require big loans. That's just what it is. But I think if you can bootstrap and you can grit your teeth and get through that, the rewards on the other side are pretty tremendous. And I'm not just talking about financial. I'm talking about like, you're not beholden to anybody. You get to call all the shots still.
And when we were just getting going, I was lucky enough that I didn't have, I didn't own a house. I didn't have kids. We didn't have, there wasn't like the financial responsibility. So I didn't really need to, the store didn't have to do X amount of the dollars right out of the gate to be successful. Mm-hmm. And as the business grew, that level of what perceived success grew,
Yeah. Yeah, now you guys have gotten to like you're like one of the destination stores on the whole West Coast, not let alone just Seattle, right? People travel to come there. Is that crazy to you?
We get a lot of people from all over the country and sometimes parts of the world, and that's always really cool, because I think that the way that the business works now and like social media and all that, like you can connect with people that don't live in your town, or your city, and they're planning a trip to Seattle or Portland, and being able to be one of the stops on that trip, I think is really cool, and it's awesome.
I get that question all the time being a Portlander, like, where do I go? And it's always on the list every
Yeah,
time,
awesome.
every single time. We're lucky. We got several good stores, but Thunder Road's always on the list for sure. Because you just got to see it, man. It's just cool. You guys have developed something really special, and I think it deserves all the attention that it gets. It's really, really awesome.
Appreciate that.
Yeah. So this is a slight segue, but I think people maybe don't know. Like, when you were saying you were playing in bands, like, what kind of bands were you playing in? I've seen a podcast with you, and I think people might be surprised at some of the various music you've got into over the years. What kind of stuff do you like?
I listen to. I mean, everybody says they listen to everything, but I truly do. I grew up really into like punk and metal and grunge and a lot of that, and played in bands that were kind of all sorts of stuff. I've been playing in bands since I picked up a guitar. Like I had my first band when I was, I don't know, 12 years old, with my buddy that played drums, and neither one of us could play, but like we wanted to start a band,
Mm-hmm.
And throughout most of my teens, that was like I identified myself as a person in a band, and that was the only thing that I wanted to do. And as I grew up a little bit, I was as a teenager was working at Emerald City Guitars, and was still in high school. And then after high school, I joined this band called On the Last Day.
Mm-hmm.
That of all the musical things that I've done in my life, I would say that one probably saw the most amount of success. Let's see. So I joined that band in 2005. I was 19 years old, and we put out some music, self-released some music, and jumped in a van and crisscrossed and zigzagged all across the country on our own dime, and printed our own merch, and like did. I don't know if bands still these days are doing it like that, but I hope they are.
I think some of them still are. Yeah,
we really, really like grinded, and we ended up signing a record deal with Victory Records, which at that time was kind of one of the bigger indie labels. We put out a record with them. We did a whole bunch of tours that playing every bowl and dive bar in America, and did a European tour, and then the band kind of self-imploded. But for most of my teens and well into my 20s, like I was a dude in a band. That's what I did, and working in guitar shops or working at Guitar Center, whatever, was just that thing that I did to supplement being able to do the other thing, and I don't think I ever saw this as like a career path. I wanted to be a dude in a band. And so when that band kind of fizzled out, I at that time was working at Guitar Center, quit Guitar Center to go back to Emerald City Guitars, who not to segue, but are like dear friends. Like I've known that family and been around them since I was 10, 11 years old, and love them very, very much. They're great people.
Mm-hmm.
But left Guitar Center, went back to Emerald City Guitars. One of the singer in On the Last Day and I started another band, and that was the band that moved to LA.
Oh, okay, got it.
But the On the Last Day was kind of like, I don't know, screamo, punk, just that kind of thing that was really popular from 2002 till about the time we were trying to do it.
It never left with me. I still believe.
Yeah. I got to do a lot of really cool things in music, and had a lot of fun doing it. I think when when I got to a point where it stopped being fun, I started thinking about like, what else, like what other things can I do? What other things am I interested in? And I think that's when the idea of Thunder Road was kind of born.
Cool. Was it you talked about on the drive back? You realized I didn't want to do this anymore. Was that uncomfortable, or did you just accept it?
So this band, so we moved to LA, and this band was like kind of like 90s alternative, like Everclear, Goo Goo Dolls, like that kind of vibe. And that band was like, it was fun, it was cool. Like we had like a little kind of spark, that seemed like it might maybe happen at some point. Maybe, I don't know. My girlfriend at the time and wife now was still living up here in Seattle, and I was living down there, and that was like obviously a huge strain on our relationship. And I just like wasn't happy living down there, and it was like, again, like driving around LA, like buying guitars from pawn shops and cleaning them up and flipping or whatever, and I just like it wasn't going how I wanted it to go. Mm-hmm. And just like wasn't happy, wasn't with the direction of how the trajectory of how things were going. And that classic like come to Jesus moment when you're just like, all of this,
right?
I definitely had that. Mm-hmm. And we were sitting and we're in band practice one day, and two of the other guys in the band were arguing about something, and I was just kind of like holding my guitar and just kind of like, okay, like waiting, like what are we doing here? And one of the guys says, well, Frank, what do you think? And I'm just like, I quit. Like that thing you do. It was
I quit.
Totally like that. I was just like, I'm so not into this anymore, and I think you guys would be better off getting somebody else to play guitar. Mm-hmm. And packed my stuff, and like a couple days or a week later, drove home from LA to Seattle by myself. And obviously on a drive like that, you have a lot of time to think about the world and your life and all that stuff. And I think that was kind of the moment that I was like, all right, let's try something that's not being a guy in a band. Yeah. And if it goes horribly wrong and I fail, at least I tried.
Mm-hmm.
When you think about businesses that are selling through the roof, like Skims or Allbirds, sure, you think about a great product, a cool brand, and great marketing. But an often overlooked secret is actually the businesses behind the business, making selling and for shoppers buying simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. It's home of Shop Pay, the #1 checkout in the world. You can use it to boost conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts going abandoned and way more sales going through to checkout. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout Allbirds uses. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/income, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/income to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/income.
Now at Lowe's, faster quotes start at the Lowe's Pro Desk. Got a material list handwritten on a sticky note or saved as a photo? Perfect. Bring it to us and get a quote in minutes. And if you don't see what you need on the shelf, we'll help you get it. You can access thousands of products beyond what's available in-store or on Lowes.com, right from the Lowe's Pro Desk. Build quotes faster and source the materials you need to keep your jobs moving. Just like that, at Lowe's.
Tomorrow morning is knocking. Stock your fridge now. How about a creamy mocha frappuccino drink? Or a sweet vanilla? Smooth caramel maybe? Or a white chocolate mocha? Whichever you choose, delicious coffee awaits. Find Starbucks Frappuccino drinks wherever you buy your groceries.
I totally... It's a weird thing because I came at it from like the complete opposite side in some ways. I was working in a totally different industry and just didn't like it at all. You get everybody talks about the Sunday scaries. I mean, I had them constantly. It wasn't just on Sunday, and it was like and it was nothing. There was nothing wrong with it. What I was doing, right? It wasn't like, oh, this is a horrible job and everybody here is terrible and it's just a completely awful place or anything like that. It's actually a pretty good job with good people and decent pay and great benefits and like all that stuff. but I was still like, ugh, man, I hate doing this. Like I just hate it. And I'm like in my 20s and going like, looking down the road and going like, okay, if I got to do this, okay, my next upgrade, quote unquote, will be I go to night shift. And then I'll do that for approximately 10 years. And then I'll be in my mid 40s. And then maybe I can come back to day shift for a little bit. And then by the time that guy retires, then maybe I can be the lead man for like the last 3 years of my job. I'm like,
what was this job? Just out of curiosity.
So I was working at a fuel terminal in Portland, and actually did some training up at the Seattle terminal as well. So those big tanks that you see on the water, a lot of those have gasoline in them, and that's where I worked at those places. And so where the trucks go to get the gas and the diesel for the station, that's where I was. Great job, honestly. A little scary to be around something that could level half the city all the time. But the people that work there and the systems they have in place make it a pretty safe place, actually, if everybody does their job right.
Interesting.
But it's just a lot. It's just a lot of time. You're there a lot. You might be there when you don't expect to be, because, I mean, the gas never stops coming. And if you're the person that's supposed to be on shift that day, you've got to be the one to make sure it goes in the right tank. And that stuff's coming in fast. And if it stops for some reason, it's a bad situation for everyone involved all the way up the chain. So it
sounds a little nerve-wracking.
It can be. It can be. It's got its moments. I describe it as like it's one of those jobs where you're either running around, can't even take lunch, your hair's on fire, and there's a million things pulling you a million different directions, and it's super stressful, or you're sitting there waiting for the clock to run down so the other guys will come in and relieve you from your shift, and nothing's going on. Like, there's rarely an in-between there. It's like somebody always has to be there, though, for obvious reasons. Even if there's quote-unquote nothing going on, somebody always has to be there, because anything could change at a moment's notice, and somebody's got to know how and which valve to turn off. So
that's wild.
Yeah, and every major city has multiple of these. Most people just don't realize they're there.
Okay,
but they're good careers. They're good paying jobs.
Yeah.
And it was great in a lot of ways, but I hated it, and I had to have this realization that I put myself here. It was the job that I had been trying, not that specifically, but it was a similar job to the things I'd been trying to get forever. Get on with the city, get on with the power company, and those are all really good, important jobs that society requires to function. But for me, I was like, but I just want to, I don't want to do any of this. I want to talk about guitars and be around musicians, but also I don't want to tour in a band. How do I figure this out? And what's this internet stuff? Maybe I can find a way in here. So I just kind of weaseled my way in through the back door. And but that moment you were talking when you were like, I quit. I kind of had that similar thing. I couldn't quit right away because I was married. I had a child on the way, and I did have all these responsibilities. So it took me 3-ish years of multiple jobs at the same time to make it all work before I could actually leave. But I had that moment where it was like, man, you can't be doing this forever. You're gonna be doing this for years, for most of your life, and you hate it right now. Do you want to hate most of your life? Like, no, I don't. I don't want to. I don't want to do that.
The thing that was hard for me that I had like a internal crisis about was just like, I love music and I love playing guitar, and for a long time loved playing in bands, so it was like, it wasn't necessarily from a place of like I hated the guys or hated the band or anything like that. It was just like, something in my life has to change because this isn't happening, Yep. Since then I've played in a number of bands, and nothing that like we're like trying to go for it, just like just for fun, kind of, so to speak. There was the moment.
I think it's valuable to talk about those things because a lot of people maybe can't figure out why they're feeling that way in a certain circumstance, and maybe I think it's better now. There's more people having these conversations, but I think it's okay to recognize that like maybe the 9 to 5 isn't for you. For some people, it is the answer. For a lot of people, probably for most people, that is the answer. I've said this a million times. For my dad, that's what he would prefer to do. He worked for himself for 12 years, didn't like it. He's not wired for the entrepreneur life. And I am wired in such a way that I'd rather work 80 plus hours for myself than 40 for somebody else. That's just how my brain is. And that's more comfortable to me. And I realize it's not for most people, but I think talking about it maybe will make some people realize like, oh wait, maybe that's me too.
Yeah, totally.
And if you try it for a while and find out it's not for you, that's also okay. None of this stuff has to be permanent. You can switch a million times if you want. It's totally fine. It's totally okay to do. So I asked this question to a lot of guitar store owners. I asked it to Will, and I'm curious what you would think about this. Somebody comes to you and says, hey, I would like to start a music shop. What kind of advice would you have for that person?
So we actually had somebody in the store not too long ago that was opening, or either buying a store, like buying an existing store, or starting their own. In where was he at? Oklahoma, I think, like
Okay.
Oklahoma City or something, somewhere in that general part of the country. And he's like follows us on social media and likes the store, and we kind of just get talking, and he's telling me that he's thinking of it was either buying or opening a store. And he's like asked me that question. He's like, what advice would you, if you had one piece of advice? And I said something to him, and I meant it in like the best way possible, but I think maybe how it was perceived was not.
Okay.
I looked at him and I said, try. Just show up and try. And maybe I should have elaborated a little bit as to what I meant by try. And I'll use this opportunity to elaborate on that. So I think
cool.
A lot of times people, when they start a business or they take over an existing business, they think it's just going to kind of run itself, and that they can just be like the, what do you call it? Like the Wizard of Oz, the guy that's up in the glass palace, that,
Right.
Kisses the babies and shakes the hands and isn't on the front lines. And I've never been that type of owner. I have my hands involved in just about everything that we do, even to this day. And that's kind of what I meant by try, is that, if you don't show up and give it your all, and, pack the guitars and take the photos and talk to the customers and answer the phone and answer the emails, then how can you expect that anybody else is going to? So I think that would be one of my biggest pieces of advice, is just to, if you're going to go into business for yourself, whether it's a guitar shop or a hair salon or podcast or anything, like you got to show up and put in the work. And if you're not willing to do that, you're probably not going to be happy with the results you get.
No, I like that a lot. Yeah, you gotta be willing to do it, and like do it in times where you don't want to do it, and you have to be able to do it on off hours, after hours, weekends, like all that stuff. It has to take a priority. You have to be willing to, I mean, people don't want to hear that, but that is true. And that's why like the 9 to 5 works for more people, because it's like clocked out. I'm not dealing with that until Monday. That's great. That's fine. That is a perfectly healthy, good way to exist, and nobody should ever think that it isn't. But if you try to do that when you're starting a small business or buying a small business, the odds of it working are not super high. Like it's probably not going to happen.
So when I was telling him that's what I meant, it was like show up, put in the work. And he was in the store with like some buddies and stuff, and they left. And one of the guys that was working at the store kind of laughed, and he was like, try? That's it? You're just going to tell the guy to try? So I had to elaborate. Yeah, I had to elaborate. Like, no, this is what I actually meant. And maybe I should have said that. Yeah, I mean, and it's a real simple thing. It's not like rocket science to, show up and put in the work. And I think that anytime you start a business or buy a business or anything like that, everybody's going to try to talk you out of it, and they're going to try to tell you you're not going to succeed, and one in 10 or 5 in 10 new businesses fail and all that. And while yes, there's truth to all that, like you can be the exception to that rule.
That just means there's 5 in 10 that don't as well.
Yeah.
So
you just got to show up and put in the work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one of the best things, and I kind of understood it at the time, but I understand it a lot better now. It was one of I think it was maybe my second NAM. I was standing by Josh from JHS at an earthquaker thing, and so a smaller, newer builder came up to him and was like, "Hey, you guys are crushing it. I love what you guys are doing. What advice would you have?" Similar to what I just said. What advice would you have for a small pedal company starting out? And he just said kind of a similar thing to what you said, but in a different way, which is like, stick around. Like, if you can stick around, if you can simply exist for a long time as a company, you're going to be doing better than most people that start at the same time as you do, is what he meant by that, which is crazy to think about.
I think a lot of times when people start something, they don't fully see it through, and they maybe give up, or they get sidetracked, or don't really, they might have never really given it a chance,
Mm-hmm.
And especially with a pedal company or an amp company or a guitar company, it's going to take a lot to catch on, a lot. And, the way that our industry works right now, there's, we get emails and phone calls from new builders and pedal builders and amp companies every single day trying to get us to stock their stuff. And I think that there's more of that now than there's probably ever been, in terms of people, getting interested in guitar or getting interested in the industry and wanting to create, new products. And it's so hard for something to actually break through, whether it be a guitar or a pedal or strings.
Mm-hmm.
You guys, I'm sure, it didn't happen overnight. You had to put in the work and see that, just kind of see it through, so to speak. And if you would have given up after a year, you would have you would have missed out, so to speak.
Yes. Yeah. I think for this industry, and I don't think it's unique to this industry, but it's the experience that I have, I would honestly tell somebody, if they're starting from scratch with any part of it, any retail, making a brand, making anything, for the most part, if you're not willing to put in 10 years, maybe do something else. 10 years, I feel like and I think it can be that way with bands sometimes.
Sure.
Because you hear this all the time, and I use this example, and it seems to hold water. You'll see the Grammys come out or some award show, and it'll be like, best new artist is this person. And it's like, new artist? I know that person's been doing this for over a decade, or at least 5 years. It's rarer for it to be we just started recording in our bedroom and now we're platinum superstar. That rarely happens.
And what, the general public that is watching that award show doesn't see is all the years that led up to that moment. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because any artist or band, even somebody that was, fabricated by the record company, so to speak, there were years and years and years of getting to that point where they could, get turned into whatever, artists or superstar or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Even something like that doesn't happen overnight.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Now that I think about it, most careers are like that too. Not just entrepreneurial or creative endeavors. A lot of careers are like that too. You don't really. It's not that you can't be good or that you're not decent at year 5. It's not. That's not what I'm saying at all. But to really, really feel like you've kind of fully did something, it's 7 to 10 years, I think. Before it really is a thing, I guess, so to speak.
Sure.
Maybe that's not accurate, and I know it's not that way with everything all the time, but at least in the guitar industry or the music instrument industry, I feel like you should ask yourself that. Do I want to put at least a decade into this to see what it can be before throwing in the towel? before maybe even actually starting. And some people get great ideas, like oh, look at this cool new product no one's thought of, and they think that that's going to carry it because there's that kind of old inventor. I invented this, and now I'm a bazillionaire because Pfizer bought it or whatever. Like, all that stuff just kind of, I don't know. We hear about those things because they're cool stories because they almost never happen.
Yeah, one in a million. Literally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, let's talk about stores themselves because I am doing a lot more with the stores on the Stringjoy side of things, and right about the time we started working with the Seattle location, you guys were moving and changing, and so I kind of want to go through your locations because I only knew about the one you just came from. Was there one before that?
So the store that I'm sitting in right now and the building that we just moved to is actually our 4th version of Thunder Road Seattle.
Okay, let's talk about it.
And it's a little embarrassing to say, but there's been a reason for every single one of those moves, and I can break that down for you.
Let's do it.
So we first started as an e-commerce business. I worked out of a 110 square foot little office space where I had like a little tech bench, little photo setup, and boxes, bubble wrap, and however many dozen guitars or whatever that we had on the website. And then we moved into our first location in West Seattle, which is where our store still is, in the fall of 2012. That store the entire building was about 800 square feet, so it was pretty small.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember when opening weekend thinking we're not going to be able to fill this up. There's no way. And then obviously, time goes on and guitars come and go and your business grows and then you're in a situation where you're like, oh shit, yeah, we filled that up and some, and we're stashing guitar cases in the bathroom, and bubble wrap is on top of guitar cases and on top of shipping boxes. And, so that we were in that first location from 2012 until 2015. And some people, not everybody knows this, but we share our space with a business called the Bass Shop. That's only basses. And that was born when we moved into our second location. Same kind of thing where, the area of West Seattle that we're in now, a spot opened up. It was substantially bigger than the original store that we were in. And I was like, man, I can't afford that rent. It's 4 times what we're paying now. And it's really big. So, the fellow Chad that operates the Bass Shop, used to co-own another bass business in Seattle called Bass Northwest that was open from 94 until 2013 or 2014.
Okay.
So they only sold basses. That's all they did. And I think they were probably at that time one of the only bass-only shops probably in the country. But anyways, long story short. So he lives in West Seattle. We started talking, and I was like, hey, I'm thinking about moving Thunder Road into this bigger space, that it's more space than we need. And long story short, we came up with a kind of creative way to have both businesses in that building. When people ask what's the dynamic, I often say it's like the Starbucks inside of a Safeway is probably the best way to describe it. So Thunder Road's the Safeway, the Bass Shop is the Starbucks. And we, that was kind of in terms of West Seattle in general, that location was kind of right in the middle of everything, right in the heart of it. And I loved our store being there. It was awesome. We were there for about 5 years. The fellow that was our landlord wasn't the kindest man in the world. And I
feel like you're being kind by saying that.
Yeah, I don't want to throw anybody under the bus, and that was a long time ago. So we were put in a position where I felt like the right move was to move out of that building.
When you think about businesses that are selling through the roof, like Skims or Allbirds, sure, You think about a great product, a cool brand, and great marketing, but an often overlooked secret is actually the businesses behind the business, making selling and for shoppers buying simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. It's home of ShopPay, the #1 checkout in the world. You can use it to boost conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts going abandoned and way more sales going through to checkout. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout Allbirds uses. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/income, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/income to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/income.
Now at Lowe's, faster quotes start at the Lowe's Pro Desk. Got a material list handwritten on a sticky note or saved as a photo? Perfect. Bring it to us and get a quote in minutes. And if you don't see what you need on the shelf, we'll help you get it. You can access thousands of products beyond what's available in-store or on Lowes.com, right from the Lowe's Pro Desk. Build quotes faster and source the materials you need to keep your jobs moving. Just like that, at Lowe's.
Tomorrow morning is knocking. Stock your fridge now. How about a creamy mocha frappuccino drink? Or a sweet vanilla? Smooth caramel maybe? Or a white chocolate mocha? Whichever you choose, delicious coffee awaits. Find Starbucks Frappuccino drinks wherever you buy your groceries.
And we moved into another building in West Seattle that I felt like when we did that move, I was like, all right, this is it. We're not doing it again. Completely disregarding the fact that we were shrinking in square footage. We had more people on staff than we previously did, and just kind of glossed over all that and was like, this is it. I think this is where we're going to lay down roots, and so on and so forth. Looking back on that, I think I might have not admitted it, but I felt like that was kind of a temporary solution to a bigger problem, bigger problem being that eventually we would need more space, and temporary solution being like, here's this other building, we can move here, it's in our neighborhood, it's on the same street that our other store was on. And at that time we were doing like 75% of our business online. So okay. I'm like, I don't really think it's that big of a deal that we moved down the street. That was 2019. 2020, COVID happens. The world gets flipped upside down, and as you know, I'm sure our industry got flipped upside down, and we went from basically when COVID kind of first was, peeking its ugly head into the world, everybody being like, deathly afraid of going out, and we couldn't open our store to the public, to basically like a year and a half of like the craziest business we've ever seen. I mean, it was just obnoxious how much interest there was in guitar in 2020 through like early 2022. Just the sheer amount of, Will and I would go to a guitar show and we would buy anything that was like cool and vintage. And it was like, it almost didn't matter what we were paying for it, because we knew that the minute that it went into the store, that it would just go away. And it was just nuts. It was crazy. It was completely unsustainable.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we I guess in hindsight, between moving from the previous spot into that location, what I didn't see was, and nobody saw, was, obviously COVID, but what that did to our industry, and then in turn, what that did to our business. Things kind of exploded overnight. We went from just doing vintage and used to now doing new stuff. So we started with the FMIC brand, so Fender, Gretsch, Jackson, Charvel. Then we started carrying Gibson, Collings, Martin, Rickenbacker. Like, it just kind of like that part of our business that we had never really done kind of really, really took off. And I can't say that I saw that happening either. And that decision to do that was entirely based out of, early on in COVID, it was like, there was no guitar shows. We couldn't have customers in our store, just being in Seattle, and then Portland, like that was just, things were pretty locked down. So we didn't really have any way to get inventory. I mean, like we couldn't go to guitar shows, we couldn't have people in, we didn't have customers like calling to sell stuff or trade stuff. And, that light bulb went off that was like, well, like we've never really done new stuff. Maybe that's something we can try to dip our toes into and see how it goes. And that kind of blew the doors wide open to the things that we do now with a lot of those brands. But with that massive growth came, again, like we have no space in this building that we're operating out of. And that's obviously, as you know, like it's a problem.
Yeah.
So let's see, it's 2026 right now. We moved there in 2019. I would say by maybe 2024, we were like really looking for somewhere to move the Seattle store into that was actually like a permanent home. And we looked at a few and kind of like I was being really picky about what we were looking for and where it was located. I wanted to stay in West Seattle, which is where we've always been. And I wanted something that was large enough that if we do continue to grow, that there'll be space for it. So the building that we're in now, we found last summer. There was a business that was in the commercial space that's in our building that was going to be moving out at the beginning of 2026 this year. And we signed on the dotted line, so to speak, and went for it. And with this move, I think that there was we'd known that this was going to happen for about a year, almost leading up to the actual move itself. And I kind of rewired my brain a little bit and was like, I want to be thoughtful about what this space looks like and what the customer experience is and what the how the store looks. And I think that we've always like taken a lot of pride in making sure that the stores are clean and well merchandised and all that kind of stuff. But there's lots of stores that have that. Lots of guitar shops are clean and well merchandised. And I think that the way that commerce works now, there's so much of it that happens online, and a lot of our peers that own or operate guitar shops, a lot of them are just kind of like leaning into online and just want to be maybe just have a warehouse and just do e-commerce, and they don't want to screw around with having a place that people can walk into. And you see so much of that, and I just thought, like, why don't we do the opposite? Let's give people a reason to get off of their computers and get off of their phones and like actually come into the store, Mm-hmm. So we hired a design firm to help us design the inside of the store, like the aesthetics and flow and everything. We hired a contractor to help us build it, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. I think that if my goal was, kind of upping our in-store customer experience and, again, giving people a reason to get off the iPhone and visit us in person, I believe we did that. But I guess time will tell.
Well, I'm very excited to come up and see it. When you guys were showing all the pictures and everything, I mean, my jaw was on the floor. I was like, this place looks incredible. Like I've got to get up there. I got to get up there anyway, but now I really got to get up there.
Sure. I appreciate that.
Yeah, it looks incredible. And moving resonates with me right now. Moving a house is difficult enough. That's a pain for anybody. But moving a business that is operating is very not fun.
Yeah. And it's funny too, because going into this move, so we built out the whole space. The shop was like ready, other than just moving our inventory, right? All of our fixtures were in here and all that. And in my head, I'm like, I've done this. This will be the fourth time that we've done this. Like, I got this,
Mm-hmm.
And sorry, real quick. There's I think a fire truck or something.
The sounds of Seattle.
Yes. So going into this move, I'm like, I got this. It'll be fine. We're in a U-Haul. Like, we can do it. And I think you don't really think about how much crap you have until you have to move it. And being our store and inventory and all that has grown so much in the 6 or 7 years that we were at the other spot. I didn't really think about how much stuff we'd have to move or what logistically that would look like until we were doing it. And it was a hassle. I mean, it was like, 5, 6, 7 U-Haul trips up and down our street from the old store to the new store, dump runs, like of stuff that we weren't going to reuse, throwing stuff out for free on the curb that with free signs on it that we didn't want to move. Like, it was a lot. And it took our whole crew, basically from, we closed the old shop on a Sunday, we moved, and then we opened the new shop the following Saturday. And we were like asses to elbows every single day that we, between closing the old space and opening the new one. And we got it done, and I don't think it could have gone any smoother than it did, but it didn't go super smooth.
Yeah, we moved this year as well.
Okay.
And it was a lot different than the last time we moved, because the last time we moved, we just went like a few doors down into the new Stringjoy space. And so I flew down there and, pretended to be an electrician and did all that. And that was like, I'd done that a few times for some of our moves, but we, only had a couple machines at that time. In fact, like we went back and looked at like some of the old pictures of that spot, and I remember thinking the same thing that you talked about in one of your spots was, we're never going to fill this place up.
Yeah.
This is 5,000 square feet. What do you mean we're going to fill it up? Like that's.
And this is where you guys do the manufacturing for the strings?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. In Nashville. And so we got to a point where we were just absolutely bursting at. We're trying to stick out that full 5 years, right? I thought we'll never fill it up. And then towards the 3.5 years, we're like, oh no. Can we stick it out here for the rest of the lease? I hope so.
Yeah.
And we were able to pull it off. Honestly, I don't know how. I don't know how they fit all that stuff in, because I didn't see it at that final bursting end point. But when we moved everything over to the new space, which is a million billion times better in every conceivable way, basically, I was like, oh wow, this moving has become like a serious endeavor. It used to be like a pretty serious endeavor, but I fly down and maybe we get a couple of the crew and it's fine. We get it done in 2 days and it's no big deal. Yeah. But as the company has grown and we've gotten more and more machines and bigger machines and everything, it's like, oh no, we got to call a whole rigging company in to do this and move all these things. Because if we try to do it, we're probably going to drop them off the side of the truck now. And because there's just so many of them and they're big and awkward and weird. And then, and like, I'm like, oh, I can't just be the redneck electrician here anymore either. We've got to like do this. Not that I ever did anything dangerous, but it definitely was not like, it was not the way I would want to do it. I just had like no conduit bender and like, I was like bending conduit out on my knee out in the street and stuff. And it didn't look very good. But we had to like, I was like, oh, we have to do this for real now. We have to do this like we're a real company. We can't just redneck my way around everything like I'm used to doing. But there was also kind of a cool experience because it was like, oh, we did it the real boy way. Like we actually did it like grown-ups this time, which was rewarding. But a lot of box truck trips. There we go. That's the term. But yeah. If you're ever in Nashville, you should come by. We'll show you the shop.
We do the Nashville Guitar Show every year. So Will and I will be down there in March, I think.
Cool. Yeah.
So you'll have to remind me and we'll have to make a trip down there. That'd be awesome.
Oh man, they would love to show you there. I may or may not be there. I'm there usually 2-3 times a year, but kind of just varies with what's going on. So,
sure.
But the crew would love to show you around for sure. It's much more of a pleasant experience to be shown around now than it was just a few months ago.
Back in the day.
Yeah. It was a little scary. But yeah. Oh wow, this time is flying by. We're nearly to the end of the episode. I've got 2 classic questions I like to wrap these up with, but before I do, I like to give the guests a chance to take the stage. You know, you're talking to a few thousand people right now. You can shout out anybody you want to shout out, plug anything you want to plug. The floor is yours.
All right. So as we talked about, we just moved the Seattle store into a new, bigger space. If you find yourself in Seattle, stop by and see it. I think that if you're into guitars, I think you'll probably dig it. And I think that's really, that's the big thing right now that's happening in Thunder Road World is the new Seattle location. I think we have plans to do a similar thing in Portland at some point, to kind of up the square footage and so to speak down there. But
sweet.
Yeah. So not to divulge too much into that, but I think that Will's got some big plans to move Thunder Road Portland into a bigger space.
Oh, that's cool. I'll have to talk to him about that off the air.
There you go.
I told him, hey, if you need any help, I can help. I can help with things. I'm here. Take advantage of your network. I'm here to help, buddy.
Right.
So, yeah.
But yeah, that's the big thing that we have going on in Thunder Road World, and obviously we still do e-commerce. We still ship stuff to every corner of the world. But if you find yourself in Seattle, stop by and say hello.
Yeah, definitely do. All right, here we go. We're gonna get into the two classic questions. First one: what is your favorite Boss pedal?
Ooh. Okay. Let me think about that for a second. What's the second question?
The second question is, what is your favorite kind of pizza? You might also have to think about that a little bit.
Okay.
I don't know. Yeah.
So favorite place to get pizza, or just favorite?
All the details and anything we can get real nerdy.
Okay. So West Seattle, there's this pizza spot called Tallarico's that's kind of like a locally owned, just a cool Italian pizza kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So they have these pizzas that are like huge, massive. Like you can't walk through a normal doorway with holding one of these pizza boxes.
Really?
A slice of maybe not as big as this fender mat.
Okay.
But pretty big.
Okay.
And they're just a cool local business. We like them. Their pizza's good, and they do have ridiculously large slices and to-go pizzas. We do my family. We do a Halloween themed thing with our kids and my wife's parents and her sister and their kids every year. We do a Halloween party, and we always get a pizza from them. And it's you're walking into the house and you kind of got to walk sideways, kind of thing. So I would say that's probably one of my favorite pizza spots. I don't know if I have a particular slice there that I like, but they all their stuff's good.
Nice.
In terms of Boss pedal, I was going to say the turbo distortion.
Oh, the turbo distortion.
Yes, and I don't particularly obviously they, Boss makes so many freaking pedals. So I kind of really had to rack my brain about that. I don't own a turbo distortion, but whenever we've had one through the shop, an older one, it's kind of Nirvana in a box, so to speak. Very cool pedal. If I was going to pick a runner-up to that one, let me think. What's the first phaser? The PH1?
PH1, yeah.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
That pedal rules.
It is very,
Yeah.
very cool.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone's ever claimed the PH1 on here. That might be a first. I can't remember. It's
Okay.
500 something episodes though, so my brain's
Sure.
a little full.
Which one do you think you get the most of?
I bet you can guess.
I was going to say the DS1.
No,
No.
the tuner.
The what?
The tuner.
TU3.
TU2 and TU3. Yep.
Okay. That pedal rules. It
It's
doesn't
a legend.
do anything other than tune the guitar. But you can drop it down a flight of stairs and it'll still work. Yeah, I would say for reliability, yeah. Really all the Boss pedals for reliability. Absolutely.
Yeah, they're indestructible. I love Boss. I've got a lot of them here, and Yeah, I like asking that question. It's always fun.
Yeah.
Well, before we sign off here, and I just barely did this with Trevor, so all the listeners are going to hear me repeat myself again. But I feel like I feel a duty to Seattle and Washington in general to tell people about this place, because one of my listeners hit me to it, and the dude that owns it is a guitar nerd. The reason I found out about it is because he had a Stringjoy sticker on the side of his oven. And
Okay.
one of my listeners, Paul, took a picture of it, and then it's great. So in Wilkeson, Washington, like right at the base of the mountains, there's a pizza place called the Carlson Block. And
Carlson Block?
Yep.
Okay.
And it is some of the best pizza I've ever had in my life. It's if you just simply go to their Instagram and look at it, you'll be like, yep, I have to try that. It's beautiful, and it's delicious, and he makes a mean pie, and he loves guitars. So I would, if I lived up there, I would probably drive out there at least once a month, even though it's an hour away or 45 minutes away or whatever.
You got to text me or email me his their info. I want to check it out.
I will. It's really good. And yeah, you kind of got to plan it because it's a bit of a hike, and he does sell out of stuff, but it's worth it. Definitely go out there.
Carlson Block.
Yeah. Good
That sounds awesome.
Well, Frank, thank you for taking the time. We'll slide over to Patreon and see what kind of silliness we can get into over there if that works for you.
You got it. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course, dude. Thanks for taking the time. All right, everybody. For Frank, this is Blake. And as always, folks, good luck and good tones. All right, good people. I hope you enjoyed that. And guess what? Frank hung out for some extra time over on Patreon, where you can go get extra bonus episodes along with the knowledge that you are helping literally keep the lights on here. And we talk about aliens. Yeah, we talk about aliens a lot over there. And it's not just because I think the topic is fun. It's because it always leads to interesting conversations and lets me learn a little more about what that person thinks or how they tick, so to speak. So if that sounds like fun, go over to patreon.com/tonemob, where for $5 a month, you get the ad-free feed and those bonus episodes. All right, everybody, if you're ever in Seattle, make sure you check out the new Thunder Road location. Thank you to Frank for taking the time to chat with me, and I'll talk to you all on the internet very soon.
At ZocDoc, we know being a healthy adult is like living in a video game. Every day has side quests, taxes, laundry, birthdays, and just when you're leveling up, you have to book a doctor. The insurance portal crashes, they put you on hold. Your doctor doesn't take your plan. Game over. We see you, so we made booking a doctor easy. Download ZocDoc, search by specialty, insurance, and availability. Book instantly. No cheat codes required. Find a doctor you love with ZocDoc.
Hello?
Look what TJ Maxx dragged in.
The Devil Wears Prada 2 is now streaming on Disney Plus and Hulu.
We are digital, we are downloadable, we are streamable.
The fashion event of the year is certified fresh.
Pull yourself together, we have work to do.
Critics say it's smart and witty and the perfect sequel.
That's all.
Get runway ready for The Devil Wears Prada 2 on Disney Plus and Hulu. Rated PG-13.
The right window treatments change everything. Your sleep, your privacy, the way every room looks and feels. At Blinds.com, we've spent 30 years making it surprisingly simple to get exactly what your home needs. We've covered over 25 million windows and have 50,000 five-star reviews to prove we deliver. Whether you DIY it or want a pro to handle everything from measure to install, we have you covered. Real design professionals, free samples, zero pressure. Right now, get up to 50% off with minimum purchase, plus get a free professional measure at Blinds.com. Rules and restrictions apply.
Starting a business can seem like a daunting task, unless you have a partner like Shopify. They have the tools you need to start and grow your business. From designing a website to marketing to selling and beyond, Shopify can help with everything you need. There's a reason millions of companies like Mattel, Heinz, and Allbirds continue to trust and use them. With Shopify on your side, turn your big business idea into... Sign up for your $1 per month trial at shopify.com/special offer.